a new document, Control or Command N. This document is going to be, it's like a half size of a letter size document. So put in the width of 5.5 wide by 8.5 high, and very important that you put facing pages. And you're going to actually say that there's going to be 4 pages, because that's what we're going to build. Just say create. Up comes a blank document, a blank page rather. If you look at your pages panel, you can see that the first page is kind of over on the right, because think of this as the cover. This is the cover of your leaflet or your brochure. The next 2 pages, 2 and 3, are the spread. That's the inside pages. They're adjacent to each other. And number 4, page 4, is actually the back cover. Notice the way it's configured so that you understand how this works. It's like a typical, very standard way of a facing pages brochure, or even a book or a magazine. If you can't find any of the panels, remember, just like in Photoshop, Window, find the panels you need. The ones you're going to need is obviously the Pages panel, the Stroke panel, the Links panel. The Swatches panel is inside the Color. You just click over and go to Swatches. And for right now, that might be all we need. We'll see what happens as we keep on going. We're going to make our cover. The cover is going to have a floral background, and then a company logo is going to be placed on there, and we're also going to create what we call a Photoword. So off the bat, we know that this flower background is going to be the exact size of the page. So I'm going to click on the F key, double click, and eventually, sorry, whoops, that didn't work so well. So sometimes I use a stylus, so that sometimes in InDesign it doesn't work as well. But I'm going to double click, and I'm going to make it 5.5, it's exactly this page size, by 8.5, say OK. Up we get a blue bounding box with an X through it, which is an image frame. You want to use your black arrow tool to just snap that right into the corner. If you're finding it difficult to snap it into the corner, like I seem to be having, you can always just input 0 and 0 in the XY axis, and it will place it there perfectly. Notice the size also is 5.5 by 8.5. You can always check your work there. This top control panel is very important. Now it's still got the X in there, which is saying I'm waiting for an image. What image do you want? So you're going to go to Control or Command D, D for dog. There's my white flowers PSD. This is in my folder of my sized images. I'm going to say open, and it places it right in there. If you want to, if the image you choose, you want kind of more of one part of it or another, you can either click on what I call the donut, where you get the hand tool and move it around slightly. And you can also do the same thing by then clicking out and going to the white arrow tool and do the same thing. Remember, in both of those processes, you're moving the image around because we have a brown bounding box. When it's brown, it's talking about the image within the container. If you click out, so I'm just clicking with my arrow out to the outside, and you get a blue bounding box, that means that's the actual frame, and you can now move the frame, which we don't want to do. But just so you understand and get used to that idea. Okay, we have an image placed. We can see it in our links panel, White Flowers 300. Now let's place a logo. So I'm just going to do this the easy way and not even create a size, but by just going with the black arrow tool, or either one, Control or Command D, I am finding my logo, which is let's see here, it is the larger logo, 300 PSD, open. And you can see it's what I call it loads the cursor up with the preview of that logo. And what I like to do is I click and drag diagonally, and I know that it's going to be, whatever the size is the logo size that it's going to be. And that's perfect for me. That's exactly where I want it. I'm going to make sure it's centered by just moving it around till I get those smart guides to show up. Sometimes it's a little bit, there we go. And I know with Jo Malone, who's a perfume company, a scent company, that her branding for her company is often involves a stroked kind of black and white, very old-fashioned image. So I am going to add a stroke to my frame. To do that, I've got it selected. I'm going to go up to the top, up here to this top option bar, and this is the stroke. When you see a big black bar, that means those are the stroke options. I'm going to click on thin thick. Now you can't see anything going on right now because you really have to make it big enough to see. I'm going to make it 4 point. And that's looking a lot like her, her marketing. I'm actually going to move it up by just, I'm holding the shift key as I kind of move it up, meaning I'm repositioning it with the black arrow tool. So now we have a logo. All right, 2 parts down. Now this is the tricky part, the Photoword. So to do the Photoword, you need to be in the T tool in the beginning. And when I'm in the T tool, I take my cursor and I drag my cursor across. And notice I'm going from margin to margin because we never want any text or logos to go off margin. They want to stay within the margins if possible, unless that's part of your design. But for this one, we definitely want to be inside. And I'm going to just type in a word. I'm going to say hello. And it will default to whatever your computer defaults to. Usually it's 12-point Minion Pro. Mine is a little bit different because it's set up differently to it with a different font that you guys probably don't even have. But I'm right away going to select it. You can see I dragged my cursor there, and I'm going to go up to my top type where I can change the size to 72, and right away that's going to make it nice and big so I can see what's going on. Now, what we need to do is pick a very, very kind of chunky, thick, bold font typeface. So I'm going to go on my font choices, and I'm going to just zoom down until I can see one I like. And I'm going to use Impact because I think you all have that on your computers. It is definitely on the Impact is I. And do I have Impact? Maybe I don't have Impact. Oh, I do not. All right, so I'm going to pick, yes I do, there's Impact. So Impact is your typical super, 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 super thick. It's probably one of the thickest ones. And I'm going to capitalize hello. And I'm just going to, maybe I'll add even an exclamation mark just for kicks. Now, if I want to make it centered, oops, I just go to Shift-Command-C. If I want to make it bigger, I can go to Command-Shift, period, the period key, and I can just hold it down as it gets bigger. If I want to make it smaller, I go right next door to that, still holding Command and Shift, and I go to the Command Shift comma, and it makes it smaller. Anyway, I'm going to make it a little bit, whoops, grab the wrong one. I'm going to make it bigger so that we can really see it, so you guys can see what's going on. To do this effectively, the font does have to be large and, as I said, chunky. I'm just going to tighten up my box a little bit, not too much. And I'm going to stick it down here a little bit. All this can be done at any time. Oops. And so now you have the font. This is live type. In other words, if you wanted to change the type now, you could say yellow, right? What we need to do now is convert this out of being live type into what we call outlines. So it's selected. You go up to type at the top, down to create outlines. The keyboard shortcut is Command-Shift-O. And what it does, it's kind of hard to notice, but if you notice, it now has, I'm going to zoom in, it's got little tiny blue it's very hard to see it, but it has kind of a blue background. It now selects differently, and if you went to the white arrow tool and you clicked on it, you could see a lot of blue anchors, just like in InDesign. Okay, so this is now no longer typed. These are just a group of shapes. And we're going to put a photograph, we're going to place a photograph in all these letters, which is going to be super cool. But in order to do that, we first have to take the fill. So this has got these are shapes with a black fill. we want to take the fill away. So to do that, I'm going to pull my swatches panel over for you to see it. Notice if I changed any of this, it would be pink, yellow, blue, whatever. But I don't want any fill, so to go to none, I just click on, say okay, go to none. Now it's literally just the outline of a bunch of shapes. It's an object, a group of objects. So that's the most important thing. You're going to make it none. Now go to Control or Command D. While it's selected, the image that I want to put in the inside is called Fabric Tool 300. I'm just going to say open, and it plops right in there. It just places right into all of the shapes. Now this, I want to see, is a much bigger image. I probably should have sized this down a little bit more. I can size it down in lots of ways. One of my favorite ways is to just do it by percentage. So up here at the percentage options, I'm going to make it 75%. And if I want to see what's going on, you can see how much of the image I'm not using. I can maybe even make it 50%. Now, if all of a sudden it's not filling up your space, just move it around. Again, look at the brown bounding box, and I'm using either the white arrow tool or I have clicked on the donut with the black arrow tool, which turns it into a direct selection. This is just a textural image. That's the point of it. And now I think because it's not reading particularly well, meaning that legibility, the green is a little bit too close to the green of the flowers, I'm going to put a stroke on this object, on this word now, which is now a photo word. And to do that, I click on it. I'm going to go up here to my strokes and see what's happening. It's went to yellow. I want to maybe change it to black. That seems awfully big. So maybe I'll make that much smaller, 1 point. Now you can also bring up the stroke panel if you want to. It's another place where you can control the stroke. And if you would like to put a drop shadow on this, which might be kind of handy, you can, while it's selected, again, I'm selected with the black arrow tool, up here at the top next to FX, you can click, well, actually click on FX and go down up to drop shadow. It brings up this effects panel, and you want to kind of change the opacity down, and this is quite large. You want to just play with this a little bit. The size is the amount of shadow there is, and then the distance of where it is you can all change, or you can do it by using this little scale button. And the spread is how soft you want it to be. Actually, it's the size is how soft. I always get those two mixed up. But just play with it. If you want a nice, soft, blurry one, maybe you want to go something like that. Maybe a little bit more of a color, and maybe it's a little bit closer. Those are things to play with. Oh, and also on that, you wanted to make sure you had your preview on. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. This is the main thing. We have created a cover. We have a logo that has been placed proportionally. We've got a photo word where an image has been placed inside words. Okay? All right, that's the cover, page 1.